Hi, I'm Dr. Bruner, the author of the Marketing Scales Handbook. This is the first video of a series I plan to show how Volume 5 in the series can be used to find and select a scale for your research. In this first video, I'm going to maybe be repeating a few things you heard if you watched the overview video, but I'm going to go into more detail here in order to make some points much clearer. First, I think it's important to understand the difference between a construct and a scale. Now, I'm not going to go into much detail, but let's just say that a construct refers to what you can't see, that what we call a latent variable, the theoretical entity. Whereas a scale is the manifest variable, the thing you see, the way to measure the construct. Now, for any construct, we tend to come up with a variety of ways to measure it because we may not agree about how to measure it. We may not even agree what to call it. So there's not going to necessarily be a perfect scale, and so over time you can kind of expect researchers may have proposed different scales. So what you need to do first is to figure out what the construct is called and realize that it might go by a variety of names. That's why in the book and in the table of contents, many times you'll see scales mentioned several times. It looks like I'm just using the same title over again. Sometimes there's slight variations in the name, other times it's exactly the same name. That's because there are multiple scales available to measure the same or a very similar construct. For example, on this page here, you notice involvement. Now, involvement is a construct that has been studied by academic researchers for some 30 years. This same construct has been studied in a variety of ways, as you see there. And what's interesting, in the last few years, this construct is going by a different name in the advertising industry. It's what they're calling engagement. And yet, if you use the word engagement in this book, you won't find it with reference to involvement. That's not what scholars have been calling it. So, using the table of contents and knowing the construct and synonyms for its name are very useful as you begin your search for the scale that you want to use in your study. A second way to find a scale of interest to you is to use the index at the back of the book. It has many terms listed there that might not explicitly be found in the titles of the scales used in the table of contents. For example, you'll see here the word colors. Well, several of the scales in the book have something to do with color, and you can turn to those numbers there and find those scales and see if they fit your purpose. A third way to find a scale of interest to you is to use the search function. And of course, this is what makes the ebook much more useful than a printed book, because instead of flipping through many pages and jumping back and forth and reading lots of things, now you can just type in what you're interested in and see if it's mentioned in the book at all. For example, let's give it a shot here and put in the word ice cream and give it a shot, see if it can find something here. And right away it finds something that, of course, it's not measuring ice cream per se, but the scale has been used to do something with reference to ice cream. And of course, you could search to see if there's any more uses of it. So I've mentioned the three main ways to search for and find scales of interest in the book. Actually, there's a fourth way that might have some value as well, and that is simply to skim through the pages of the book, flipping through them. I've actually met people who've told me they've done that, and when I ask why they do that, they say that sometimes they don't know exactly what they're looking for. In other words, they don't know the names to even search for, so they merely flip through the book. And so as tedious as this might be, it might actually be a good way to get ideas about constructs and scales that you could use in a study to shed light on your target market. In the next video of this series, I'll discuss what to do when you find there are several alternative scales available to measure a construct of interest to you.